Good morning to all. I am Dr. A. Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of History, Sri Sarada College for Women, Autonomous, Salem 16. Today my topic, the American Civil War. The American Civil War 1861 to 1865. Introduction. The American Civil War 1861 to 1865, a conflict between the Union Northern State and the Confederacy South State. Abraham Lincoln, Union President, Ulysses S. Grant, Union General, Robert E. Lee, Confederate General. First of all, reason. Introduction. During the year 1861 to 1865, United States witnessed one of the severest struggle between North and South, which turned out to be greatest civil war in history. The was precipitated by the decision of the number of states of South and deserted from the Union and entered the defeated of South and the preservation of the Union. It also resulted the abolition of slavery and acceleration of the economic development of the country. Sectional rivalry between North and South, one of the most important issues faced by American after the Mexican War. As a result of the Mexican War, certain territories was acquired in the South and West. However, certain retained hold that is an oversimplification of the issue. No doubt of controversy between North and South over the questions of slavery, one of the causes of tension between the two sections. In reality, the real causes of conflicts was the different ways of living and the ideals which were professed by the two parties. A divided nation. The northern states, the Union, three times the population of the South, international regarded government of the USA, almost 90% of the industry and railroad were located in the north. Seven, seven immigrants settled in the north. The majority of northern people supported the Republic Party led by Abraham Lincoln. Republic Party, strongly nationalist, was anti-slavery and so it was considered to be anti-Southern. North at the time consists of the state of Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York and New Jersey, Ohio, Indiana and Illinois, Pennsylvania, almost north sides. The northern states were on the old industrials and the 1850 industry has been fully there. Particularly the state Pennsylvania, New York and Massachusetts has supposed all other states. America chief deposits of coal and iron were also located in northern state. The productive traffic and the railroad enabled the manufacturers of the north to capture ever-growing home market. Apart from business and industry, North had also made progress in the field of education. Not only two important universities of Harvard and Yale were located in the North. Even other states of the North were establishing their own universities in the field of primary education. Also, North had made arrangement for free elementary education. The wealthy capitalists of the North were also controlling the politicals. And the southern state, the Confederacy, 3 million slaves of a total of 9 million population. Friendly relationship with France and Britain, who supported the conference. Economic based in agrarian exploitation, cotton production. Lines of slave labor discouraged immigration and most immigration settled in the north. Do you think the South took aggressive defensive policy? South people support the Democratic Party and wanted John the breakings to the president. South, on of the other hand, consists of South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Maryland, and Delaware. In all the states, slavery was given a legal state. The state of the South were agriculture and proceeded planting of rice, sugarcane, hemp, and all above all, cotton. This was made of consist of the south of new land, better cotton crops of well assess the exploitation of the slave labor. Another characters of south were the practically no manufacture of its own. Most of the manufactured goods which the southerns needs either come from England or from the northern state. Causes of the war. Slavery, the root causes of the civil war. Enslaved Africans were forced to work on plantation. They had to no freedom rights pay. The institution of the slavery was deeply rooted in the southern economy. Southern state freed losing slavery that the federal government would abolish it, especially after Lincoln election. The expansion of the slavery into new territory was major point of contention. The northern state abolished slavery. 11 southern state sectioned the production slavery and formed the Confederacy. Slavery became the moral political center of the conflicts. First of all, reason slavery affected sectional conflicts. Slavery was another important factor of sectional conflicts even before 1848. This issue had created friction between North and South. For example, lot of hate was generated between the two sides in 1819 when Missouri applied for admission to the Union as the slave state. As soon as a bill permit Missouri to become member of the Union was presented to the Congress. Talmadge, a member from New York, proposed that all of the children slaves in Missouri should be free and reaching the age of 25 and further import of slave be forbidden. In the between year election 1865, as a result of large scale violence in the Kansas of Whig party broken into two fractions. The Whig of the southern to were pro-slavery and the Whigs of north who were anti-slavery. As a result, new parties emerged: the American and the Republicans. While the American Party tried to divide attention of the people from the slavery issued, wiping at feelings against the immigrants, the Republicans openly should be keeping up slavery out the territories. However, the other political party, Democrats, carefully avoided the issues of slavery. The result of the election significance because they showed that the voting was purely section in the characters, while the Democrats whips the Southern, the Republican vote were mainly concentrated in the North due to fictions within the Whigs. The Democrats candidates was election of president. State rights. South perspective. Southern state believed in the rights to state govern themselves free from federal interference, including the rights to secede from the union. Southern states believed they had the rights to allow slavery, control their own laws, economic, leave the union if they disagreed with the federal policies. Southern leader argued that the federal government was overstepping its power by trying to limit slavery. The election of Abraham Lincoln, who opposed slavery expansion, led to sections of several southern states. Northern perspective. Northern state believed in a strong federal government. Northern state believed opposite letting state define national law and secede. The idea state rights was used to justify sections from the union. Political divisions. Explain, explain the rights of political parties and the election of Abraham Lincoln. Discuss the sections of Southern state and the formation of the Confederacy. Section of the South. USA was formed by 33 states in 1860. After Abraham Lincoln won the 1860 presidential election, seven southern states seceded and formed the Confederate States of America. On 24th December 1860, South Carolina in the first southern state to break away from the USA. By 1861 to 1865, the Confederate State of America was formed by 11 southern states: South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Economic differences. Northern economic passed an industry, factories and trade, had more railroad cities and immigrant labor, supported draft to protect US industry. Southern economic passed on agriculture, cotton, tobacco, rice, relies heavy on slave labor, opposite draft tariff because they raised the cost of imported goods. The North and the South had opposing economic interests. The South feared Northern policies would hurt their economic and threaten slavery. These economic differences led to conflicts views on tariff, infrastructure, and other economic policies. Economic tension added to the divide that led to war. Course of the war. Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter, located in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, U.S. Army fort that became a focal point of tension after several southern states seceded from the Union. U.S. Army on April 12, 1861, Confederate forces under the command of PGP Beauregard opened fire of Fort Sumter, which was defended by Union troops led by Major Robert Anderson. After a 34 hours bombardment and with the port defenses severely damaged, Major Anderson surrendered the fort to the Confederate. The attack on Fort Sumter is widely recorded as the start of the American Civil War, as it tri- triggered a chain of events that led the outbreak of army conflict between the Union and the Confederacy. The bombardment of Fort Sumter united Northern and the President Union issued the call for volunteer to suppress the rebellion. The fort remaining the Confederate hands the duration of the war and the Union force attempted to recapture it, but without success. Today, Fort Sumter is National Park, preserving the sites of offering insights into the event that the to the Civil War. First Battle of Bull Run. The first Battle of Bull Run, also known as the First Battle Manassas. The first major land battle of the American Civil War fought on July 21st, 1861, near a small stream called Bull Run in William County, Manassas, Virginia. The conflict led by General B.G.T. Puget and Joseph Johnston won the battle while the Union forces were led by General Irvin M.T. Dodd. The battle demonstrated that the Civil War would be long and a bloody conflict, shattering and initial illusions of the quick and easy victory for the either sides. The battle demo the battle resulted in nearly 5,000 casualties, including 460 Union soldiers killed, 1,124 wounded, and 1,312 missing of the captured, and 3087 Confederate soldiers killed, 1,058 wounded, and 30 missing. During the battle, Confederate General Thomas Jackson earned the nicknames Stonewall for him his defense against the Union advance. The Union force, inex- inexperienced and poorly led, were rooted in guilt and disorganization back Washington DC resulted in a Confederate victory. Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation was the presidential decree issued by Abraham Lincoln on January 1000 January 1st, 1863, that declared and enslaved people in the Confederate state to be free. The proclamation of the key turned point in the Civil War. Lincoln issued the primary proclamation of the September 22, 1862. Lincoln justified the proclamation as the military measure. Lincoln signed the final proclamation January 1st, 1863. It changed the legal status of more than 3 million enslaved African American. It authorized a recruitment of African American into the Union Army. New. It strengthened the Union moral causes of military might. It transferred the Civil War from the war preserved the Union into war ended slavery. It was millstone on the roots of ending slavery in the United States. The 13 amendments passed by Congress in 1865 abolished slavery in the United States. The Emancipation of Proclamation is considered one of the great documents of human freedom. Battle of Gettysburg. The Battle of Gettysburg provoked 3 days engaged in the American Civil War, fought under the around Gettysburg, Pennsylvania from July 1 to 3, 1863. The Union Army, the Potomac, commanded by the Major General G. Meade, clashed with the Confederate Army and Northern Virginia led the General Robert Lee. The battle was the bloodiest of the Civil War, with over 50,000 casualties on both sides. The Union force won decisive victory, held lean invasions of the North and forcing his retreat back of Virginia. The Battle of Gettysburg War after cities did the turn point of Civil War, marketing shift monuments of the favor of the Union. President Abraham Lincoln delivered of Gettysburg address of the dedication of the Gettysburg Nation Committees in the November 1863, honoring of fallen soldier and referring and National Committee of Equality and Freedom. While the war continued for another 2 years, Gettysburg marked a turning point, leading the series of Union victories of ultimately the Confederate surrendered in 1865. Vicksburg Camping. The Vicksburg Camping, aka even the American Civil War Western Theater. Western Theater involved a Union effort the capture of the Confederate stronghold of Victory, Mississippi, culmination of the divide, United Victory, the Spills Conference, and secured control of the Mississippi River. The Union goals was captured Victor and part of the Anaconda Plan. Strongly confident controlling Mississippi, the outing of trade. The Battle of Gilmson's Union's victors opened the gate of Vicksburg. Battle of the Camden Hills, a pivotal battle of campaigns where grand forces defeated Pumpton's army, leading to the signs of Vicksburg. Sherman March to the Sea. Sherman March to the Sea is also known as the Seventh Campaigns, a military campaign of the American Civil War conducted through the charge from the November 15 until December 21, 1864 by William Tertius Sherman, Major General of the Union Army. Sherman of the used total wars restoring railroads, factories, groves, and homes. The march cashewed muscles distressed but weakened southern moral of economy. Result of the war, end of the slavery. The Civil War of the abolished of in the United States. Preservation of Union. The Union of the war, preserving the nation of the ending slavery. The war affirmed the Union authority of preserved the section of the state. Reconstruction. The periods after the war focused on rebellion of South integrating formats enslaved people into society. Legacy. The Civil War had profound impact of American history, leading the abolished slavery, strengthens of the federal government, and the beginning of the social political changes. Conclusion. The American Civil War is a defined moment in American history, a result deeply rooted issues that could not be revolved, resolved peacefully. It led to nation divided, but ultimately the Union of preserved and slavery was abolished. The legacy of this Civil War continued to shape American society today. Thank you.